Today, we're talking about Asteya. Asteya is the third Yama, and it is most often translated as non stealing. Once again, before I go any further, I want to honor the source material that inspired this series. This guided study is inspired by the Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice by Deborah Adele. I am not affiliated with Deborah Adele or her publisher, and this series is not a replacement for the book. My hope is that it encourages you to read it for yourself, sit with these teachings deeply, and explore what happens when yoga becomes something more than something we do on the mat. Because these teachings, they are not theory. They become visible in how we move through life. At first glance, Asteya can sound, well, straightforward. Do not steal. Easy enough. Most of us are not here robbing convenience stores on the way home from yoga class. But yoga philosophy tends to get more uncomfortable the closer we look at it. Because Asteya is not only about stealing physical objects, it's about the subtle ways we take what is not freely ours. Things like time, attention, energy, credit, validation, space. And if we're honest, many of us have been trained into forms of stealing that are so normalized, we barely recognize them anymore. We interrupt people, we monopolize conversations, we expect immediate response. We consume endlessly and compare constantly. We take from the earth, we take from relationships without always asking, what are we giving back? That's where Asteya starts becoming less about morality and more about consciousness. Because underneath stealing, we usually find fear. Fear there will not be enough. Fear we are not enough. Fear someone else will get the thing we wanted. And here's where Asteya becomes connected to scarcity. I'm not talking practical scarcity. I know real hardship exists. Some people truly do not have enough food, safety, money, or opportunity. I'm speaking about psychological scarcity, and that is very different. Psychological scarcity says there is never enough time, never enough success, never enough recognition or proof that I matter. And when scarcity drives us, we begin grasping. So subtly, it even looks socially acceptable. Overworking, that's definitely a socially acceptable form of stealing. People pleasing can become a form of stealing. Constantly needing reassurance can become a form of stealing. Never resting can become a form of stealing from our bodies. And chronic distraction, well, that steals from our relationships. Let that all land for a moment. Most of us are not only stealing from others, we're stealing from ourselves. We steal our own attention every day. One more scroll, one more notification, one more thing consuming our focus while our actual life waits. Asteya asks, what am I taking? And what is the deeper hunger underneath the taking? Behavior is rarely random, and most grasping is a form of compensation. We overconsume when we feel emotionally underfed. We seek applause when we feel unseen. We cling when we fear abandonment. We overbook ourselves because stillness might force us to hear something uncomfortable. And modern culture, well, it pushes this. We live inside systems designed to stimulate dissatisfaction. You are constantly being told, you need more, you are behind, you're missing something, your body should look different, your life and success should look different. There is an entire economy built around convincing people they are incomplete. So Asteya becomes radical because it interrupts that momentum. It asks, What if enough exists right here? What if I stop reaching for what is not mine? What if I stop trying to consume my way into wholeness? This does not mean I am telling you ambition is wrong. Desire is not the enemy. Creation is not the enemy. Wanting more for your life is not automatically greed or stealing. Yoga is not asking us to become passive or lifeless. The question is, can I pursue what I desire without the grasping? Can I celebrate someone else's success without feeling diminished? Can I want deeply without slipping into entitlement? Oh, entitlement. That's another shadow of Asteya. Entitlement says, I deserve access to your time, your attention, and your emotional availability. Expecting everyone else to regulate your emotions can become stealing. Dumping unprocessed chaos onto others without their consent can become stealing. And this gets nuanced quickly because human beings need each other. Support is healthy. Interdependence is healthy. Asteya does not mean becoming emotionally isolated or hyper independent. It means becoming more honest with reciprocity. There's also another quieter form of stealing. This is when you steal your own truth. We know we are exhausted, but we override it. We know a relationship is no longer aligned, but we avoid it. We know we need rest, we need boundaries, we need creativity, we need change, we need honesty. Heck, we need stillness. But we keep bargaining with ourselves. Eventually, something inside us starts to feel depleted because self betrayal drains life force. You know it. The body will keep the score there too. The nervous system knows when we keep abandoning ourselves for productivity, approval, performance. Asteya invites us to stop extracting from our own reserves as though we are machines instead of living beings. And this is where gratitude comes in, because gratitude can soften grasping immediately. I'm not talking fake positivity. I'm not talking spiritual bypassing, not pretending that everything's wonderful when it's not, but I mean real gratitude. The kind of gratitude that notices this moment, this friendship, this sunset. Scarcity says, what am I missing? Asteya asks, what is already here that I've stopped noticing? And honestly, many people are profoundly overstimulated and profoundly undernourished at the same time. We are surrounded by consumption and starving for meaning. That's why enoughness can feel almost foreign at first. To sit with enough, to stop grasping and reaching, to stop endlessly upgrading ourselves, that can feel a little scary. But I guarantee you'll find freedom there. When we stop stealing from the present moment, we can finally inhabit it. In practical, grounded terms, practicing Asteya may look like arriving on time, listening fully when someone speaks, resting instead of extracting more from an exhausted body, giving credit generously, paying people fairly, not taking more than we need, not demanding immediate emotional access from others. Oh, and one of my favorites in this very, very loud world, not filling silence simply because we are uncomfortable. The practice is not to become so chill we seem emotionless. The practice is to become conscious enough not to let the emotion drive unconscious taking. Ask yourself, Where in my life am I operating from scarcity? What am I afraid there will not be enough of? Where do I overconsume? Where do I overtake? And perhaps the most important one, what would change if I truly believed there was enough space for me too? That is Asteya. Not merely do not steal, but do not live as though wholeness is somewhere else. Do not rob yourself of your own presence. Do not consume your life while waiting to finally arrive in it. Asteya invites us to loosen the grip, to trust enoughness a little more, to stop reaching quite so frantically for completion outside ourselves. Because the deeper practice is not deprivation, it is freedom from compulsive grasping. And from that place, generosity becomes possible, presence becomes possible, contentment becomes possible, gratitude is inevitable. One breath, one moment of enough at a time. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next session.